Good morning, church, and happy Sabbath. I'm Kendall, and I'm here to do a children's story for you. Specifically, a musical children's story, and that's the reason why I have my ukulele. Now, my question to you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, whoever really wants to answer this question, it's rhetorical. Don't answer this question. Have you ever felt like your talent or your skill was not quite good enough for God? Have you ever felt that maybe, just maybe, you weren't there yet, and your skill couldn't be used for God? Well, the writer of the song I'll be talking to you about today felt the same way. Well, let's play it. If you haven't figured out what song it is by this point, it's Jesus Loves Me. Well-known song all across the world. People love it. Kids learn it. One of the first songs most kids learn. But how did it get to this type of popularity? Well, our story starts in a small town in New York. New York State, that is, not New York City. Where a young lady by the name of Anna Warner was sitting around with her sister. Now, her sister was a writer, and she wrote great books that lots of people knew. And Anna wrote books too, but they weren't very well known. People weren't flocking for her books like they were for her sister's books. Anna felt like nobody would like her writing, so she started to kind of clam up and shy away, as some of us do when we're worried about our skills. But her sister believed in her. Her sister knew that Anna had potential. And when the sister got to a point where she was writing a story, and the story was about a young lady whose son was sick and was dying. Suzanne couldn't think of anyone else who could help her but her sister Anna. She went and asked her sister, Anna, could you help me write part of this book? I need to think of a song that a mother would sing to her dying child. Now, Anna had felt so bad that her writing had never been accepted, and she thought, I can't write anything that's going to be good enough for this story. So she prayed, and she asked God to help her. And so she worked and worked and worked, and she came up with a few lyrics you may find familiar. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak, but he is, there you go, strong. And the book was a hit. People loved the story, so much so that a hymn writer by the name of William Bradbury decided he would take the song and put it to a tune, or the poem and put it to a tune. You kind of got it. But let me play the chorus, because the chorus was all him. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Boom! Okay, so he wrote this whole piece that allowed it to get really catchy, and people were singing it all over the place. In fact, it got so popular that it left the United States and traveled all the way over to England. That's where a young lady by the name of Amy Carmichael heard the song. You see, Amy Carmichael was a young lady who had kind of lost her faith. She had grown up believing in God, but she kind of felt like nobody was really doing what the Bible said. So she was about to give up. She was packing her bags and she was going to leave the church. But as she was leaving the church, something strange happened. She started to hear the people get up for their closing hymn, and they started to sing, Jesus loves me. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak, but he is strong. And Amy thought to herself, if Jesus truly loves me, then I need to go off and share that love with other people. Jesus must love everyone. You know what? I don't care if everyone else isn't doing the right thing. I'm going to go off and do the right thing. So Amy, she got her stuff together and she decided that she was going to let God lead. She was going to go do something for God because this God, this Jesus, loved her. She decided, a lot of things actually, now that I've said she decided 3 times, that's amazing. She decided that she was going to go to India. You see, in India, they had a practice. This practice was, in essence, hurting children. And it wasn't very good, but the government thought it was okay. In fact, a lot of people participated in this practice. You see, the kids would be taken to a temple and they'd be locked in the temple for the night. And they were not allowed to leave until they were requested to come out. Amy decided that if Jesus loved every kid in the world, he must love those little Indian kids. So, what she would do was she would walk around town during the day and whistle. And that would allow the kids who were owned by the temple to hear. And when they heard that song, that little tune, they knew hope was there. They knew someone was coming to save them. So, at night, Amy Carmichael would get up, climb into the temple, and take 1 or 2 kids every night away from the temple. That way, she could bring them to the English school and tell everyone that they were English kids. The first thing she would teach them was Jesus loves me. So the next day, when the guards showed up and they were upset, they would come up and say, "We know these children. These children belong in the temple." She would be like, Oh, you say these children belong in the temple. I say that they're British children. These children are learning English with me. Now the guards, they weren't happy about that. They'd be like, "What do you mean? These children do not know English?" And then they would hear the kids singing a very special song. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak, but he is strong. That is right. And so, that is how Jesus loves me helped these kids escape. And it didn't just happen once, it didn't just happen twice. It happened so many times that the Indian government had to just give up on this practice and finally make it illegal for people to hurt these kids. Now, if that's not enough for you to see the power that this song had, this song also saved the United States president once. You see, JFK and his troop were patrolling a couple islands in an area called the Solomon Islands. And as they were sailing around, they got stranded. And then, while they were stranded on this supposedly deserted island, they didn't know how they were going to survive. But they ran into a group of natives. And these natives couldn't speak English, but they could sing a song. Could you guess what song that was? Jesus Loves Me. And because they could sing that song, JFK realized that he knew that song too. He was going to sing along with them. And because they both could share that song, the two groups of people, the Americans and the Solomon Islanders, were able to share a meal and help each other out. You see, it was a group of Seventh-day Adventist missionaries who had taught the Solomon Islanders, Jesus loves me. Anna Warner never knew how important that song would be, and it's helped countless people throughout many generations to learn who God is, to learn that Jesus truly loves them. And because Jesus loves them, there are some great things that we as Christians can do to help. Now, boys and girls, there is a Bible verse I want to give you. That's 1 Peter 4, verse 10, where it says, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms." You see, boys and girls, it won't always be easy. We're going to run into all sorts of moments where we don't feel quite empowered. But when you feel like that, think of the song Jesus Loves Me. Think of how one girl who thought that no one would ever read her writing wrote a song that has touched the hearts of people around the world, that saved the president, that saved multiple children from horrible things, that saved people's faith and brought people to Jesus. You can do that too. Remember, Jesus loves you, and he wants you to do amazing things. God bless, and happy Sabbath.